Hi there, it's Nicole for Simon Says Stamp, and today I'm going to share a die-cut stained glass technique with you showcasing Simon Says stamps and dies. This is a really fun technique and great for any dies that maybe have a really thin border like these sketched hearts from the recent Hey Love release, because you can die cut them from a foil cardstock and then fill them with whatever you want. I filled these with some cardstock and then add a layer of glossy accents, maybe even a little wink of Stella glitter pen like the red heart on the left, and they really give the look of stained glass. I'm going to start with my background here so that this can set aside and air dry. I am coloring in the Simon Says Stamp Leaves background with some distress markers in candied apple, dried marigold, spun sugar, and picked raspberry, coloring in the individual leaves, not being really particular about it, just kind of mixing and matching. I'm not going to color in the entire stamp, but rather kind of the whole middle area where it's going to be on that sheet of white Bristol smooth cardstock on the left. I don't really want it to cover the entire surface, just more the center part of it. It's okay if there's going to be some lighter areas around the edges of this panel. Going to continue to add color here. Once that's all colored, I'm going to spritz this and reactivate the ink with water from a mini mister because it gives such a fine mist of water, but I'm going to make it pretty wet. Shut my misty cover and hold it there for a little bit so that water kind of absorbs into my cardstock. And when I open it, you can see I get a great watercolor leaf background. I want to set that aside to air dry. If you're in a hurry, you can always hit it with a heat tool. Next, for that die cut stained glass effect, I am covering both sides of a piece of fun foam with Stick It. Then I'll run that through my die cutting machine to get the Stick It to adhere to the fun foam really, really well. Take a piece of gold foil cardstock and place that on one side, and then die cut the sketched hearts. This is that new die from the Hey Love release. I like to run it back and forth a couple times. It's going through lots of layers. Then I'm going to carefully start peeling this out. It has very delicate frame. The bigger area is a little bit easier, but I like to go really slow. I did have to grab my scissors for one little area where that fun foam maybe didn't pop out as easy as I wanted it to. And then I want to make sure I keep that small heart. I'm going to set that all aside. And then I'm taking a stitched rectangle, the largest size from the Simon Says Stamp Stitched Rectangle Die Collection, run that through my Big Shot, and that is going to cut my watercolored leaves background panel just down a little bit so that it'll fit the front of an A2 card. Such a pretty look. I'm going to take a greeting from the Thankful Heart stamp set. This is one of my favorites from the card kits from 2016. This was kind of later in the year, I think maybe November. I love this greeting stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that with my Misty so I can stamp it a couple times, one on top of each other, to get a nice dark impression. Then I'm taking a smaller greeting that reads Sending Hugs and Kisses from the Wild Beauty stamp set and stamping that on black cardstock with Versamark ink, sprinkling on some white embossing powder and then heat setting that. This is going to be cut into a thin strip to attach right above the With All My Heart scripty greeting I just stamped. I've also die cut a clustered leaves die from vellum. This is one of my favorite dies to cut from vellum. I love how it overlays. I love how it matches the leaves background that I used the watercolor, or did the watercolor effect with the distress markers. It's a beautiful layer. So it'll be the background layer, those pretty vellum leaves and then the stained glass hearts. The stained glass is going to be the last thing I do here simply because of the glossy accents and drying time. You have to have everything else put together before you can actually get to that particular technique with this card. I will trim down the ends of my sending hugs and kisses greeting. I'll do that now. Just going to use my scissors, and I think I trimmed it down just a little bit more, maybe even, so I can attach that. But it's slightly underneath some of the vellum leaves, and then some of it will be a little bit on top. Take a nice strong adhesive and attach that right there above. That's going to make it really pop and make it easy to read. I fiddled with that quite a bit trying to get it exactly where I wanted it to go. Once I have that in place, I'm going to die cut the sketched hearts from Cotton Candy, Doll Pink, and Schoolhouse Red Simon Says Stamp cardstocks. Just trimming up those vellum leaves now trimming off any excess that overhangs. All of those little pieces are going to be used to create an inlay. So if you don't want to do a stained glass technique, you could definitely just do an inlay here, which you can see I'm doing now. I'm going to put some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium on the back of these pieces. Not being very neat and tidy about it, because I want them to really stay put. And then replacing that gold foil dimensional heart in the more solid heart. And then I'm creating the stripy little design, alternating between the Cotton Candy, Doll Pink, and Schoolhouse Red cardstocks. Because some of those areas are so teeny tiny, I'm using a piercing tool, or you could use the quick stick tool or something, a stylus, something like that, to place and stick those little pieces in there so you can keep your fingers out of the glue. Also, with all of these little extra pieces, you could really create a set of cards and not have all that extra waste. I didn't this time, but you definitely could. It would be really easy to go ahead and create 3 cards since you have all the extra pieces already. Once I have all of those little areas filled in, I'm just using something heavy to kind of hold that down until I am ready to add the glossy accents for the stained glass look. I'm going to take a Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen and color over my red heart to make it glittery. And then take my glossy accents and I am going to fill in these areas. The great thing about the dimensional die cuts with the fun foam here, and then adhering the cardstock with the inlay, it didn't have fun foam on the back, so there's a great well, if you will, in all these little areas, which is going to be great to hold that glossy accents in place so that I don't have to worry about it trying to get out and migrate anywhere else. That is the beauty of these really thin die cut from the fun foam. Now, you're going to have to set that aside to dry for quite a while. I think mine took a couple hours. That's a lot of glossy accents on that main heart. The rest of it didn't take as long, but the heart did take a little bit. I did finish with a scattering of some gold sparkly enamel dots, just a few of them here and there. And then I attached it to a white side fold card base to finish the card design. Thanks for joining me today for this die cut stained glass card showcasing Simon Says Stamps and Dies. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos showcasing Simon Says Stamps and Dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.